Welcome to lesson number 8. Today's lesson we are continuing on with dictionaries and how we can use them and incorporate them into our code. Let's begin. So in our last video we got to this point here where we had our friends and we had sort of lots of values associated to a key, but these were all kind of separate and not really associated to a person and so on. So in today's lesson we are going to sort of join them all and make our first kind of database from our dictionary. So to do that, let's go new and go Python file and call this lesson 8 dictionaries part 2. Alright, and I probably should have called this one. I might just refactor it and name it dictionaries part 1. There we go. Alright, so dictionaries part 2. So what I'd like to do is I would like a way of adding friends to our dictionary or to our friends list. However, I want to add a bunch of values next to their name and I want it to be done while we're running the code. I don't want to just hard code everything in like this. So let's make a new list and let's call it best, lowercase, best friends. Or we could probably call it, best friends will do. And we will just make it blank for now. So a blank dictionary. And let's have a look at the things that we might want to add to our dictionary. So we want our friend's name. So we'll say name, and let's make it friend name. And we'll make it equal to input. We'll say enter your name. And next we're going to ask for their age. So age equals int input what is your age, question mark. And then we might do one more. We'll go with favorite food again. Maybe we're having a party and we want to know what everyone's favorite food is, and we'll say what is your favorite food. Alright, so we've asked for these 3 things. So I want to store these 3 things. However, unlike here where it's not linked, I want them to all be linked. To do that, well, I need to have unique values within my database or within my dictionary, because like here, they weren't unique and it was hard to sort of break them apart. For example, I didn't know how old Phil was or Billy was, or even if John was 17 or his favorite food was pizza. So to do that, we're going to use a unique key for each person. And to make it really easy, I'm just going to go with a number like number 1. I think that'll be fine. So I could write it in here and say 1, but instead we're going to do it just underneath. So we're going to use, we're going to say new key equals, and we'll say, we'll use the function max, and you'll see why in a second. So max, and then best friends dot key, and then bracket like so. And then we'll just go out of here and we will say +1. Now this is a fancy way of doing what we're about to do. I'm hoping it's going to work. If not, we might need to do a bit of tweaking. But essentially what we're saying is look for the highest key you can find in our best friends list. And it's going to be an integer. So it's going to look for the highest key, the max it can find. If it can't find one, I'm hoping it's just going to assign the value of 1. If it does find one, then it's going to say, hey, so the max key is 1. Let's add 1 to it and go 2. It'll make a bit more sense when you actually see it running. But essentially, it just means we'll never have the same key, because our best friend will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. All right, so now we've got our new key. We're going to put this all into our friends database. So we're going to say, or dictionary, I should say. So best friends, and then we want our new key. Okay, so that's going to be whatever this is. Best friends new key equals, and we need to go bracket. Now we say name, and then I need to make this name like so. And now I need to put their name in, so friend name. Now I can do a comma and say H, and then I can do another one, and I can enter the age they put in here, and comma, and now their favorite food, colon, and favorite food. Okay, now if I push enter, we can see if this works. Let's say print, and then we'll say best friends. Now, I don't suspect it'll work the first time, but that's okay. Your name is John, you are 17, and your favorite food is pizza. And we got an error. Why do we get an error? Well, I suspect it's because we had nothing in our database. Now, we could fix it the easy way or the hard way. I guess the easy way would be to already make one in there. I guess we'll do it the easier way. We're just going to add a default value to our database. So we're going to say 1, and then we need to make this colon, and then we will go dictionary value of name, and I'm just going to copy all of that for now and paste it in there. And then if I double click that and then push the quotes, it'll quote the end of it. All right, so let's just call that our default value. All right, let me try run this again. So run John 17, and it might get upset with me because of the integer. And favorite food is pizza again. And we got... I probably should have read it. It actually does need keys in there. Silly me. Let's try that again. All right, name John 17 pizza. And there we go. It added them in. Now I'm curious, if I remove this out of there just for a second and run it again, will that have worked the first time? John 17 pizza. No, it said, hey, look, it's empty. We can't use max because it's empty. So I'll just go back like so. There is an easy way we could fix this. One is just putting a default value in. Two, we could say if there are no keys in there, then give us a key of 1, else do this code here. So that would have worked too, but that's okay. This fixes it for us. So something I want to point your attention to here, because I didn't say it earlier, is you can see we have made a dictionary within a dictionary. So probably a nicer way to put this would maybe be like this. All right, so you can see here, next to the key of 1, we then have another dictionary with all of these values. And so that's how we're getting around using name, age, and favorite food, because these 3 keys all link to this sort of master key here, if that makes sense. So if I was to copy and paste this, so copy and paste. And what I might do actually is I might copy it all the way from there. So copy, enter, paste. And then I'll push tab to bring it into line. Might do it the same with that. Okay. You can see it's upset here because we're using the same key twice. But if I put 2 in there, you can see now, and this is upset with me because I don't have a comma there. There we go. You can see now I'm using this key here, which is unique. And that's going to house all of this data here. So every time I add a friend in, it's going to go, oh, let's look at the key first, which is unique. Cool. Now that we've found the key, which is this bit here, we can add in all this data next to name, age, and favorite food. And it doesn't think that these are linked up together because they're a key within a key. So this name here, another way to look at it is this name would really be, 1 and name. This would be 2 and name, which is not the same. So we can add multiple friends here. So to do that, I'm just going to remove that one that we just made. Oops. Remove that one. And I want to add a bunch of friends in. To do that, I'm going to need to use a loop. So I might do it with a for loop. And we'll say, let's say for I in range. I'm just going to lock it into a set amount. Let's say 2, or let's go 3. For I in range 3, and then we're going to do this bit here. So tab all of that across at once. Little tip here, if you grab everything and push tab, it does move it across. But if you hold shift and push tab, it'll actually move it all back as well. Just in case you ever have a for loop and you get rid of it, it's going to be upset with you and you're going to have to manually delete it all, but you can just select it and push shift tab and it will go back too. Anyway, let's go back. So for I in range, and it's going to ask us name, age, favorite food, and that should work. Then it's going to print best friends after. So let's go and populate our dictionary now. So enter a name. Well, we don't have John yet, do we? So there we go. John, he's 17. Favorite food is pizza. Cool. Next one is Adam. He is 18 and his favorite food is McDonald's. Oops, there we go. And next we'll go with Matt. He is 19 and his favorite food is sushi. There we go. So let's see, did it save everything to our list? Well, you can see there's our default value. It then made an extra key for us, number 2, remember, because of our nice max command here. So the max command would have gone, I can see that there's already a 1, so we're going to add 1 to that, and we got 2. And it saved John here, so I've got John. Then it went 3, and it saved our next one, which was Adam and McDonald's. And then the last one, it saved Matt with his favorite food of sushi. So we've been able to add all of our friends into there. Now we could also print a specific friend off. So if I said, print best friends, but this time I said key 1, and I'm just going to, I'm feeling a little lazy here. So what I might do is I might just grab all of this code. So all of this output from earlier, I'm going to copy it, and over here I'm going to paste it. So that means I've saved all of our friends' values in, and then I'm going to just remove that. You know what? I'm not going to do that. Let's go back. Here we go. I want you to be able to keep this code in case you need it later on. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to grab an extra value here, like so, paste it in, and I'll say 2, and I need to put a comma there. And I'll just name this one here, John 17. Oops, pizza. Alright, and then here I'm going to say 0. So now when I run this code, it'll automatically jump ahead. It's already finished for us. So you can see here it said best friends, and it already printed what was that 1. Now it came up with that. What if I say print me 2 and I run that? Well, now I get John. Now before you ask the question, go, hang on a second, shouldn't it go from 0 first? I thought that's what we agreed upon with lists, that they start with a 0. Well, here, because we're using key values, you can see I gave the key value of 1 and 2. If I made that key value 0 and I made this key value 1, well then sure, now, I didn't, I left it as 2, so I'll get a key value of 2. Because remember, lists, they have to have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. But for a dictionary, well, it's going to be whatever we tell it. So if I put that back to 0, there we go. All right, so that prints all the values from whatever's at position 0. And I could then again specify name like so, and it will give me friend name. That's because we have friend name there, but let's get John's name. Run. Good old John, there he is. So I can print specific values from my list like so. Now we might end the video with a for loop that's going to go through and print all of our friends' names out of our list. And to make that really, obvious what's happening, I'm just going to copy and paste this and give myself another friend. Here we go, friend number 2, and this was Adam. And he can have the favorite food and be the same age, that's fine. But down here I'm going to say for I in range, and I can do a fancy way to get the number out of here, but just for now I'm going to say 3. Okay, for I in range 3, and the reason I'm using 3 is there's just 3 people in there. And I'm going to say print best friends, and instead of 1 I'm going to say I, because remember, for loop starts at 0. Nice dictionary here, we man-made it to start at 0 and then 1, 2, 3. So this should give us 3 values back and print all of our friend names. So let's see if that works. So run, and there you go, printed all of our friend names from our dictionary, or a sort of database. And I could change that to age as well, and let's run that. And there's all the ages and so on. So what we've done here is actually quite powerful. We've made a dictionary within a dictionary. You can see we've got all these like values that are saved to our dictionary, and each one's linked to this specific key, and these values are linked to this key here, and this key is linked to this key here. We've got a method here of putting into our database or our dictionary as many friends as we like, and you can have all the inputs. We came up with a nice fancy way of always making a unique key. We wouldn't have to do that. I mean, we could do it another way where we just say, you know, enter your own key and then do it sort of a way to check whether that key exists. But this way kind of works quite nicely using this max command. And then here you can see we add that to our dictionary, all those values, we add them in. And then lastly, here's where we printed everything out. The last thing I want to look at is maybe here, how do we get that value without having to hard code it in? Because for example, if I thought it was 2 and then I ran this code, you're going to see I only get 2 results. And if I thought I had 4 in there and I run this code, well, I'm going to get an issue because it says, hang on a second, you gave us a key value of 3 and that didn't exist because I only have 2 friends. So I could actually use this here. I believe this will work if I just grab that, because that's going to find the max key. I'll put the max key in there. Let's see if that works. So if I run that, yeah, there you go. It looks like it missed one out. What if I say that? Let's run that again. Yeah, there you go. So that worked there. So that we could use that, which means if we added in more people, and just last thing I'm going to do, let's add in one more person. Oops. And this will be key 3, and this will be Tom. And I need a comma. Now if I run that, it should automatically add in the extra one, just to really check I'm in the right name. And there we go, Tom's added. Now the reason that's important is that means it's scalable. I don't have to come back and change anything. If I had 1,000 people in there, then it's always going to work. If there's one person in there, then it's always going to work. Alright, so that was a bit of a longer video, but dictionaries can be tricky. Make sure you do copy the code down so you have a copy of it. And it's definitely a useful tool that we're going to use more of later on. So I hope you learned something in this video. I always say that, and I'll see you in the next one.